Hello, my name's Tim. Welcome to Tim Burbage Reads, and today I'm going to be doing a book review of Adventure by Jack London. This is the 11th book in my Year of Jack London challenge, where I've tried to read a different Jack London book every month. We are in the Solomon Islands phase of Jack London's career. The past couple I've read have been in that space, and the one I'm currently reading now is in that space, in that place, and this is because he gave up on writing and went and worked on a ship called the Snark, and I believe that went around the Solomon Islands, so that gave him a lot of inspiration. Solomon Islands are very hot, very tropical, and full of native tribes of indigenous people. We follow two characters. The main character, the point of view character, is an Englishman called Dave Sheldon, and he was in partnership with a man in a business, and just before the start of the book, the other man dies of fever, so he's on his own. And then the other main character, Joan, appears. She is an American woman, turns up with a Stetson and a revolver and a crew of native Hawaiians who are on her ship. Her ship sinks. She's stuck there. She's stuck with the main character, Dave, and their relationship grows and changes. This I found interesting because there's a lot of concepts being discussed about Americans generally being more youthful in the world because they have less history, while the English have a lot more history. Jack London is American, so the American is the main, the protagonist of the story, and the Englishman there is to tell them, oh, that's not how we did it in my day. But a relationship does develop between them. Of the romances that Jack London has written, this is one of the better ones. It's not great though. That might just be I'm not a big romance reader, but this was okay. It was not as problematic as some other ones I've read. Burning Daylight. So I enjoyed the descriptions of the nature. I enjoyed nature is still an antagonist in these stories. Very different to Call of the Wild, A Daughter of the Snow, White Fang, where it's the Klondike, where it's the north, it's the snow, it's the cold. Here it's the heat, but also it's the fever. The fever is like the main enemy here for a lot of the characters. And the seas and getting caught up on rocks. This bit I found interesting. I enjoy this kind of stuff. I enjoy Jack London writing about nature. I enjoy reading about nature. Being unforgiving and being completely uninfluenced by the main characters. The main characters can't do anything about it. They just have to deal with it. That I find interesting. That I enjoyed. I enjoyed the two main characters, they're kind of back and forth bickering for a lot of the time. Their relationship I enjoyed. There were many parts of this book that I did not enjoy reading though. That is primarily based on what Dave Sheldon and Joan what their business is, which is running a plantation on one of the Solomon Islands. At this time, slavery is outlawed, but what the characters did and what people did around this time is they went to small island communities of indigenous people who did not speak English. They put pieces of paper in front of them, they made them sign them, and they paid them very little, and they recruited them, is the term they use, by putting them on boats, sailing them across the sea, and putting them in a place to chop down bush to make space for coconut plantations, or whatever it is. It's just icky to read. It's really unpleasant to read, and this book does go into quite a lot of the mechanics of it, and no one bats an eye and says, maybe this is bad. No one, not a single person. This isn't even deemed a necessary evil. This is just the way of things. And I think that's how things were at the time, but it made it uncomfortable to read. And not only Are they basically slavers? They're slavers with slightly higher cost base. The way that the book, the way that Jack London writes about the indigenous people, is the way they speak, the way they are spoken to, is not nice to read. It's really unpleasant. There's a trial and tribulation that the main characters have to go through, which is an attempted uprising from some of the people working on the plantation. I wanted them to win. I wanted them to kill the main characters because they were underpaid and they all had the fever and they weren't being looked after and they had to deal with all this just so other people could make money. Yeah, not good. Another part is you had the people working on the plantation and you had the people who were local to that island inside, further into the island, and they were cannibals, and you had shrunken heads, and you had all the stereotypes. And I don't know if these stereotypes came from fact. I don't know. I haven't read about anyone else travelling the Solomon Islands in this period of time, but it still made it an unpleasant read. It really did. So overall, I enjoyed the nature parts of it. I enjoyed the characters. It was just what they did. I think there have been 2 books that I've ever read that I've not been able to take off the modern lens of knowing that these were written in a different time and how they wrote about people in those times, the language that's used, things like that. The first is The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle, where a group of explorers turn up, discover 2 nations, 2 groups of people are at war, just decide one of them is the bad guy and then shoot them all, basically. I didn't enjoy reading that. And this is similar in what the characters were doing to other human beings. I could not will them to be successful. And that really brought it down for me. So I gave Adventure by Jack London 3 stars. Let me know in the comments below if there has been other books that you've read, older books where you've struggled to take off the modern lens and where characters have done something that was okay in the time, but inhibited your enjoyment of the book. Please give the video a like, I really appreciate it, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, I think there's only one thing left, and that's to get out of my house!